What's up, guys? It's been a minute, but it's gonna be all right. I've got a cool tutorial for you guys today. If you are a fan of panoramic photos, and if you're not a fan of panoramic photos, it's still applicable. It's still great. You'll find a reason to use it, I promise. So, we've all seen panoramic photos, right? You have a nice landscape. They're fun to look at, but the problem is the minute you start pixel peeping, it falls apart. Just depending on your camera, that's where those megapixels come into play. I shoot with the Sony a7 IV, and it's got good resolution, 33 megapixels. Nothing to turn your nose up at, but the minute you start to actually crop in and pixel peep, I hate that word, but people do it, sometimes I'll do it, and when you see it, you can't unsee it. So, I actually don't like shooting panoramic pictures with a wide angle lens. It's actually quite the opposite. I use something a little tighter, usually my 85. And the reason for that is I get such a tighter shot on each individual section of my panoramic photo. What does that mean? Let's do it. So I don't know what the term is, photo merge. I've been calling it pick stitching. I feel like I've heard that somewhere. I don't know where, but pick stitching. I'm sure there's a bunch of other apps that do these things. They all kind of run together after a while, but I'm using Lightroom. If you're using Lightroom, you can follow along. Maybe not. So what is pick stitching? Pick stitching is taking a group of photos and combining them into one larger photo. And I've seen this done for not just panoramic, I've seen it for portraits, but I feel like you need to be very still. So what I'm saying is, you know what, I'm bad with words. All right, come on. Okay, so what we're saying here, okay, follow me. Okay, let's say this is your picture, right? Now normally you can get a wide enough angle to where you just take the whole picture. But what we're saying is we're going to narrow our view to an 85 millimeter to where we can only take maybe this much of the picture at a time. Each one of those squares is gonna be a picture. So by the time everything's said and done, I'm going to sloppily do this, but we're all geniuses and we understand what I am saying, and so on and so forth. Instead of having one picture, we're going to take mini pictures to make one big picture. And it's all going to work as long as each one of these frames overlap by just a little bit. Maybe a third of your frame will be an overlap. All right, I think that's it. All right, now that we covered that, let's get started. So what I've done essentially is I saw the spot I wanted to take. You're gonna have to forgive the preview that I have because I was screen recording from my phone. The app wanted to save every picture, but you're gonna get the point. I saw the area that I wanted to have a panoramic photo of, and I just took pictures. That overlap is important because it's where it's going to merge your photos. I like to overlap maybe like a third of my screen. And as you can see, I just sort of took some pictures, making sure I gathered all the area that I wanted. So as you can see, I have all of the photos that I took in Lightroom now. The overlap is there, and it really wasn't important the order of which I took them as long as there is overlap. As you saw, I kind of started in the middle and shifted left and then right, but it's fine because Lightroom is just going to find those overlaps. It doesn't matter the order of which you take them. So all you're gonna do is upload those photos to Lightroom. They're here at the bottom, as you can see, and I'm going to select the first one of my sequence all the way to the last one of my sequence. It's important to note that I have 14 pictures that I'm going to stitch together. You do not need that many. You can stitch 2. Just click, click. Boom. If you just want to add a little extra, just 2. There you go. That's fine. 3, 4, 5. Anyways, I'm going to select all my photos, Control A or whatever the Mac equivalent is. I say as I'm using a Mac. Right click once they're all highlighted, and then you're going to see Photo Merge. so I guess it is photo merge. I'm still gonna call it pick stitch. Now you do have some options here. You have HDR merge, panorama merge, HDR panorama merge. I'm gonna use panorama merge. I'm gonna click it. It's going to gather the data. It's gonna create a preview. Now this is where it can strain your computer just a bit. It is looking at all those photos, 14 pictures, and it's trying to find the line between all of them. It's doing it for me. Back in the day, you used to have to go and do it manually. Here's what it came up with. You can see my main panoramic image here. You can see some empty spaces here. Those are the spots that I just didn't take pictures of. You do have some options. You have spherical, cylindrical, and perspective. I, for the most part, only do spherical. I could be wrong here, but I believe it's as if you are taking these photos and you're wrapping them around a sphere or a cylinder. Perspective, that one's wild. It kind of looks like it took I guess the fisheye kind of effect out of it, which could be good or bad. Let's try spherical just because that's the one I'm used to. We have a couple of other options we can do. We got this boundary warp, and that's just going to try to, I guess, take out those areas that it wasn't able to. Normally, what I would do is I would auto crop, and that's going to take away those white sections for me. But if I don't want to do that, we also have this fill edges. And I guess what that is doing is using AI or some sort of fill to fill in those gaps. And it does a pretty good job. As you can see here it is with it and without it. Pretty good considering I didn't take pictures of those areas. For the sake of this, I'm not going to do that. I only want what I took. So let me auto crop that. Take it out, bring it back. I kind of don't want to auto crop it actually because it's cutting off the top of my trees. That's what I get though. So let's do autofill. I'm gonna do autofill because otherwise, if I cropped in, it's gonna take off the top of my trees. That's my bad. I should have paid more attention when I was shooting. I should have got the top of those trees and stretched all the way to the side. Otherwise, it's gonna try to bring it all down. So let's turn off auto crop and fill those edges. Looks great. It looks like we did a pretty good job with this one, so I'm happy with that. All I'm gonna do is click merge. Depending on your computer, once again, this can take a minute. Remember, I am combining, 14 33 megapixel images. So, give it a minute. Ah! And just like that, we're done. I'm gonna make sure to cut all that out. I'm not. I did it on purpose. Comedy. All right, so I click my image and boom, I have a panoramic image that if I zoom in, we keep a good bit of information. It doesn't break up. So a couple of things here. I mean, and we do have the full range of our photo here. We just edit it like it's one photo. Take our highlights down, shadows up if we want to. We can come down here. We can make it a little warmer because it's fall. And just edit to your heart's desire. But this is how I've been doing my panoramic photos for a while now. It does take a couple more steps, but I do feel more confident if I were to print a panoramic like this. It goes back to that nobody's gonna know but me, but that matters too. So I'm happy with it. Like I said, you can do this for anything. I've seen people do portraits. If your subject is very still and there's no movement, you can get a very tight picture of maybe the head and then the torso and pick stitch them. Don't change your focal lengths. It's gonna get weird. Don't zoom, just prime. I wouldn't change my aperture. That would be weird, but I wouldn't change any settings. I would just take the picture and then pretend like it's all, assume it's gonna be one cohesive picture, because it is. All right, guys, that's it for today. Go out there, make some panoramic pictures, post them on Instagram, post them on X, Twitter. Post them, print them, just print them. All right, guys, it's been fun. See you.